Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to Century Plyboards India Limited Q1 FY22 earnings conference call, hosted by Ambit Capital. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star and then 0 on your touchtone telephone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Dhruv Jain from Ambit Capital. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you. Hello everyone, welcome to 1Q FY22 earnings call of Century Plyboards India Limited. We have with us from the management side Mr. Sanjay Agarwal, Managing Director and CEO, Mr. Keshav Bhajanka, Executive Director, Mr. Arun Kumar Julasaria, the CFO of the company, and Ms. Nikita Bansal, Executive Director. Thank you, and over to you, sir, for your opening remarks.
Thank you, Dhruv. I think I'm audible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So good afternoon, friends. I, Sanjay Agarwal, MD and CEO of the company, along with Mr. Keshav Bhajanka, Executive Director, Ms. Nikita Bansal, Executive Director, Mr. Arun Julasaria, CFO of the company, and we are joined together in welcoming you to the Q1 FY22 results call of Century Plyboards India Limited. Hope you and all of your family members are safe and healthy during the pandemic times. As stated in previous quarter call, this year has started with impact of second wave of pandemic. Despite the second wave, we have delivered good results, which are better than our own expectations, with second half of June doing much better with the fading of second wave. It is heartening to note that the residential real estate sales of major 9 cities in India in Q1 FY22 have only dipped 18% quarter on quarter, despite May and first half of June being almost a washout. We thus believe that the demand for wood panel sector is likely to remain positive in the times to come. We are doing our working internally and will come out with a detailed roadmap for next 3 years in the forthcoming Q2 FY22 conference call. July 21-2 has shown promise, with plywood showing a strong victory, followed by laminates and MDF segments. Our recent initiatives, ILP, SFA, Viroquil technology, fireproof plywood, and roping in of vector agency and BCG for removing the inefficiencies in the system to drive quality earnings growth over the next 3 to 5 years. Our MDF brownfield expansion at Hoshiarpur has been delayed by 1 quarter and is now expected to come on stream by H1 FY23. Our South MDF capex has also been deferred a little bit due to delay in getting requisite approvals on account of persistent second wave in the region. Input costs in all the segments have gone up significantly over the past few months. We have largely passed on most of the input costs increase by taking in price hikes across product segments. As far as raw material security is concerned, while our Myanmar plant is not doing so well due to the coup in Myanmar, we have now started sourcing face veneer from our recently commenced face veneer unit in Gabon in Africa. Our working capital strength increased in Q1 to 108 days, and that is largely because of inventory days, which has gone up by 43 days. These inventories have already started coming down with demand opening up in July and would further come down by end of Q2. Happy to share that despite the challenging scenario, our team has done an excellent job in maintaining a strict discipline on the receivables, which has been maintained at around 52 days. Despite higher working capital days, our net debt stands at mere 48 crores at the end of Q1 FY22. We have also launched a TVC for laminates yesterday. With these remarks, I hand over to CFO, Mr. Arun Julasaria, to take you through key financial figures, post which we will be open to your queries. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to mention customary disclaimer that this phone call is just to discuss company historical numbers and future outlook. In no way this should be construed as an invitation to invest in the company. Results for the quarter along with detailed analysis has already been mailed to most of you and also hosted on stock exchange and company websites. So just taking you through the macros, our top line on YOY basis have grown by 124% to 448.8 crores against 200.6 crore last year. EBITDA margin was 14.7% at 66.1 crore against 5.4 crore in the same quarter last year. Profit after tax was 33.8 crore against loss of 8.49 crore in the last year. All segments performed well. Quarter-on-quarter performance had declined due to second wave of COVID, and we expect the same to normalize in quarter 2 as July month has been encouraging. On balance sheet front, our net worth is now close to 1300 crores. Return ratios and working capital cycle were impacted due to impact of second wave of COVID. We continue to look at the future with optimism and better performance every quarter. With these words, I open the conference call for questions and answers. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Anyone who has a question may press star and 1. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Our first question is from the line of Rishikesh Bhagat from Kotak Asset Management. Please go ahead.
Thank you for opportunity. So my question is first related to MDF. So if I look at the margin performance, there has been an improvement sequentially despite a decline in revenue. I understand there is an impact of price hike, but just wanted from the directionally from incrementally from here on, I think considering the delay in capacity announcement, new capacity, is there a scope for further improvement in margins in MDF, or do you think that further price increase will or margin improvement will look difficult and will attract new supply from other regions?
You see, MDF is an area where supplies from other regions cannot be too high. So everybody, if I have some excess material, I will send to other zones. So I don't expect too much of filtration from other zones. And as far as margin is concerned, you see, we for a system, we practically target a particular kind of an EBITDA, and we try to follow it. At some times it slides a little bit, at some times it goes up a little bit, but we try to follow the EBITDA. So you will see that after the initial hiccups and the changes happening in the industry, the EBITDA is mostly hovering around, I think, 26 to 28% actually. So even in coming times, yes, there may be some price rise due to the input increase that we have been able to pass on as and when possible. So I don't think there will be much variation as far as margins are concerned.
Okay. The second question is on the capex on South on MDF. Now, I know the capex number is yet to be frozen, but historically we have been speaking about 550, 600 crore kind of capex. So just around this, is there a likelihood that this capex number could remain upside, or there is a upside risk to the capex number with the recent increasing input cost? And secondly, has there been any work started on the ordering front for the South capex also?
Hi, Rishi. So, no, I don't think there's too much of a risk of an increase in the overall project cost. And yes, most of the machinery has been finalized, but the orders have not been placed yet.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Chetan Ginoria from Alpha Accurate.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah. So my question is primarily with respect to our demand. So we saw our demand impacted in the first quarter. So can you explain what was our closing run rate for June quarter in the plywood segment mainly, and also what are the demand trends that the
actually it's not your voice is not so clear. Could you be clearer?
Hello, is it better now?
Yeah.
So sir, my question is with respect to our plywood segment. So what are the demand trends that the company is seeing in the June quarter and also June month and also in the July month? So July month, have we crossed the last year levels, and how are the demand trends now picking up after lockdown?
Nitika.
Yeah, hi. So definitely the recovery in June was much faster and much better than what we saw last year. July also the recovery is very good, and we hope that going forward we will see a good recovery and hopefully growth in the future.
Okay. And with respect to our MDF margins, so we had earlier alluded that the South capex would be a slightly lower margin business. Now that the Hoshiarpur plant has also been delayed, so are we expecting any margin pressure on the MDF business with increasing supply?
No, but right now you see, because the increase in supply is not happening, so I don't see any margin pressure. But yes, as and when the plants come up, this is a history in every product that as a new plant comes in, there will be for some time, there will be a margin pressure. But right now, because these plants have delayed, so they are actually a better thing in the other way. That yes, the quantum is not coming up, but whatever existing we have, the margin pressure will not come on them.
Okay. And also, sir, you had earlier said that the laminate business margins of 19% and then 22% that we had seen in Q3 and Q4, these margins will going ahead be normalized. So laminate business, how do we see the margin now? There was increased cost pressure here. So have we passed on the cost increase?
Yes, after the latest round of increases, we had passed it all on in the last quarter itself. But melamine has again spiked, and a couple of other raw materials are looking on the high. So we are looking to take another price increase in the very near future. Sustainable margins in laminates, as we have stated earlier, are likely to be between 15 to 17%, and we are working towards the same, and we are very confident that we will be able to achieve the same.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll take a next question from the line of Rahul Agarwal from InCred Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, good evening, and thank you for the opportunity. Just two questions. Firstly, could you quantify what is the price hike you took in the first quarter across your 4 segments?
All the segments. So you see, MDF, we have taken a price rise of about 4%. And in certain 2 thicknesses, we have taken a price rise of about 15%. So average price rise may have been about 6% or so. And as far as plywood is concerned, we have taken about 2% price rise. Laminate, I think Keshav will be able to tell it better.
Laminates, we have taken a 3% plus price rise in the last quarter.
Got it. Anything on the particle board side?
Particle board, we have taken only, I think, 3% price rise on the particle board.
Got it. So the reason for basically, very higher realization in MDF and particle board quarter on quarter, is it broadly price hikes or is it anything else? Was this number normal?
Actually, particle board, even I have not been able to assess the exact reason. The price hike is not really too high, but we see a little bit of a higher realization there, but I have till now not been able to see why. The prelim share has gone up a little bit. That makes a difference. So you can say the value-added products are selling a little bit more.
So any reason for MDF price hike? The realization being higher by 10% QOQ. Like, is that normal?
Actually, price rise is 4%, and two thicknesses we have taken a higher price rise of 16% or 15%. But even then, that does not make for a difference of higher realization. So the reason can be a little bit of a product mix where actually we are our premium plus product and the pre-laminated MDF board. So I do not have the quantities, but yes, those two products make a difference to the overall realization.
Got it, sir.
Our premium plus actually is costlier by more than 30% or 25%, and so is the pre-laminated MDF also. So if they increase by even a small percentage, it makes a good difference to the total realization.
Got it, sir. And lastly, any comments on
I don't have the exact numbers at the moment, so I cannot give you the numbers.
No problem, sir. And just lastly, on the Sainik performance, if you can comment qualitatively, how did the segment do, both in water resistant and waterproof? Thank you.
Sainik में waterproof and MR में क्या रहा?
So actually, usually we don't like to share this information, but both have recovered well and are doing well.
Okay. Thank you so much. All the best. Thank you for answering.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Asim Bhargave from DAM Capital Advisors. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, evening everyone. So I had more broader industry level questions. So first one is on the anti-dumping duty decision on thin MDF that went against the industry. So could you tell us what may be the thinking of the government on rejecting this one, and does it provide any hints on what the government may be thinking on the other anti-dumping duty and the CVD recommendation?
You see, CVD is still in the process and no final decision has been taken as far as CVD is concerned. And anti-dumping, very frankly, both would not have come. That was also very clear in our mind. Yes, we were trying for both. So we are still expecting the CVD to come in. But very frankly, if you really see today, if you look at Green, they are able to export much more MDF right now from India. So immediately, as it is, all these duties are not going to make much of a difference to us. Yes, in a long term, any such duties help the industry. There is no two things about it. And it will help more the people who are into South. Then because of the easy approach from exporters from other countries, but to bring it to North India, to where we are operating right now mostly, it is not that, hurting to us, very frankly. So in long term, yes, and I believe that if it does not come today, we will again try, maybe in 6 months' time or 8 months' time, we will again try and we will be able to probably get it. CVD the result should come very soon. Now within next 10-15 days, I think we should have the result.
So just wanted to understand, would there be any scenario where the government may end up rejecting CVD as well? That's why actually I was asking that what may be the thinking behind the government decision.
You see, the thinking behind the government in their mind is very, very difficult for me to comment on that, very frankly. They may be thinking that right now that they might have got the immediate, the export is happening, so they might have learned about it. So then why do you need the protection? So all those thinking may be going on, we don't know. And CVD may be rejected because it is completely finance ministry. Everything is now lies with finance ministry. All the groundwork has been done. Every analytical has been done. and now it lies with the finance ministry for approval. So it may or may not be approved, yes, because it's absolutely open till it happens.
Sure, sir. So second question, actually, just for my knowledge on
But
MDF pricing.
you must understand that actually at this juncture, it is not going to affect the industry too much.
Yeah, I understand that. Right now imports are also looking at other markets. But just that,
Yes.
eventually when markets overall come back into a steady state balance, things may or may not. I get that, sir. Okay.
Yeah, and you see the prices have risen mostly because of the logistic cost, and the logistic cost from other countries to India are not going to come down so fast. The shipping industry is in a absolute high. After maybe 10 years or so, or maybe 12 years or so, actually now they are at a high. And these products are affected highly by logistic costs actually. Only the logistic costs have gone up by $40 per cubic meter. They are not going to come down. So I don't think until unless the new plants come into production, there are going to be much effect on our industry.
Sure. And on MDF pricing, just wanted to understand, in a scenario where raw material prices start to decline, would the industry also be compelled to, pass on the benefits? Or is it like a pass-through year, or would you guys be able to retain it?
Never, job of cost versus the price. It all depends on the market position. If the costs are rising and a new plant comes up at that time, still the prices will go down actually. And the margins will shrink a little bit for some time unless the demand catches up. So this is basically the pricing is a job in today's times on the market scenario, on the demand supply scenario actually. And if prices go down, the cost of raw materials go down, but the demand goes up, the prices will go up. Yes, we try our best as and when the prices go up, cost prices go up, we try to pass it on. But that also depends on, actually today the market is good, so we are able to pass it on. If the market would have been bad, we would not have been able to pass it on. Because MDF is still an industry which is maturing. You see, plywood, we have got a branded material, so we are able to pass on as and when the cost increases. In MDF, still the branding is happening. It will take some more time before, this cost passing on can become an easy job.
Got it. So, and last question on particle board. So, any commentary on the space in general and, what Century's long-term plans are in this space?
I think we have spoken, every time, because going forward, we are very positive on plywood. So we are expanding our plywood capacity also. We are expanding on MDF also. We have not still decided, but if we go for the UP project, then we will be actually expanding on particle board also. So we are very positive in this space. So going ahead, and that we have finalized the plant, and Hoshiarpur is coming up within the H1 next year. And South plant also, we are very serious. We have finalized everything, the machinery, etc. But yes, because of the COVID, the land and the government approvals are still pending. We are very positive.
Sure. So the question was, so we keep hearing from you and all industry players about MDF and plywood, but nothing more on particle board. But I get your point, sir. Thanks a lot for answering all my questions, and all the best, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Sneha Talreja from Edelweiss Securities. Please go ahead.
Good evening, sir. Thanks a lot for the opportunity.
Evening, Neha. Evening, yes.
Sir, the question is more related to the current demand scenario. I think.
Talreja, sorry to interrupt. If you're using a headphone or earphone, can you just take it off and speak on a handset mode?
Is it better now?
A little better.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So my question is more pertaining to the current demand scenario. You rightly said that, from June onwards it has started to pick up, and July also is seen significant pickup. In last quarter, you definitely guided for around 12 to 15% sort of a growth in plywood. And again, a double-digit sort of growth for laminates. Looking at this current scenario, I just wanted to know the outlook for, all the segments.
I think I spoke before also on this. We are Outlook is, are you looking at a 2-3 years outlook?
Maybe 2 to 3 years.
Outlook.
I think both should do so.
Both. Okay. So immediately, yes, we are when the markets have really, revitalized in all the sectors, actually, I should say, whether particle board or MDF or laminate. I think all the markets have revitalized very well. And as far as the long term is concerned, I think I spoke in my speech also that by next quarter when we speak, at that time we will have a roadmap actually, which will be present to all of you.
Sure, but in the near term, you're positive on the double-digit growth rate, which you already guided in the last quarter.
Actually, this double-digit thing, very frankly, the things are in such a situation that even I think we had a triple-digit growth from last quarter Q1 to this Q1 actually. So at this juncture, actually, to tell you whether double-digit or triple-digit or single-digit has become, very frankly, it does not matter, very frankly, right now.
Sure.
Does it matter? Last year, whatever we did, I do not know what is the kind of growth the company will get or any company will get, very frankly. I hope this stabilizes more, and then next year we can talk about the single digit or double digit actually.
Sure.
Yeah, one more point. The third wave is a completely unknown quantity, right? So
Right.
because of that, it becomes very difficult. As the MD has already said, we are very bullish going forward. But again, these are certain things that are outside of our control.
Sure. My second question is actually related to the MDF segment. Just wanted to know your percentage of sales coming in from the West market. And secondly, you definitely highlighted with more number of players coming in, you see pressure on margins coming up. So that was second, that what kind of a pressure do you see on margins coming up? And thirdly, since your capacities are getting delayed, would there be a challenge in supplying material in, let's say, next year before your new south plants comes up? Or is there any arrangement that you can work with some other player for the time being to fill in the market? That's the third one.
See, Neha, at this juncture, nobody will be ready to supply to us because everybody, if I am getting, if Century Ply is getting this kind of a market reaction and we are able to sell, then nobody else will actually want to supply to us. Everybody wants to establish their market. So the question of, getting the supplies from anybody else does not, stand right now. Number two is actually, whether the market will have shortage of product. So you see, you've seen in South, RUSIL has just come up, and
Right.
I don't think they have been able to consume their total capacity. So I really don't see much of a shortage, but as far as North is concerned, I see that North presently does not have a shortage of supply. And by the time there will be a shortage, I believe that our plant will be in production, say by H1 next year. So our plant will be in production. As far as South is concerned, by the time the capacity created by RUSIL is completed, I think our plant will be almost there to come up. So that is about 1.5 years from now, actually, we should say that is the situation. So I don't see that there will be a shortage of raw material. Yes, there is always a little bit of either we have an excess production or we have a little shortage. So that situation will go on depending upon the plant utilization because of internal problems. Otherwise, I don't see much of a neither downtrend nor any uptrend.
Sure. Also, lastly, in case you can just provide the geographical mix for your MDF sales.
Geographically, you see, we usually do is 70% sale or 72-73% sale is done in the north. Rest of it is divided in east, south, and west. And if you ask me a question that why do we supply from outside north, there are products which are very, very good, which pay us very good margins and which have got very good sale in other zones. And we have identified thicknesses and we have identified products in other areas which we sell into other areas. Yes, along with that, some regular product also goes, but it is always good to be in the market. If you once go out of the market, then again when our plants have come up, at that time to get into the market will be very, very difficult. So we try our best to sell most of our product in the north only because of logistical costs.
Got that, sir. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Chirag Shah from ValueQuest. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. Sir, in terms of your new capacity coming in, by when North plan you expect to start, commercial production, and South you said there is a delay. So by when currently you are expecting that this plant will be online?
With regards to North plant, we will be in production H1 of next year. The basic delay, as you all know, is due to COVID and due to unforeseen circumstances that have been caused by COVID. With regards to South plant, it is taking a little longer because getting the government licenses, etc., is proving to be a little tricky because of the COVID scenario again. But I'm sure that once we are able to get the licenses and the land approved, suppose that within 18 months we shall be able to commission the capacity.
Okay, and North, when you say H1, we should assume around Q2 end. Is that a fair assumption?
It will be within Q2. We are going to try to bring it early. But there is a little bit of variability at this point in time.
Got it. Secondly, sir, on MDF annual volume guidance, if you can throw some light, how is the demand trend, etc. Because if you see Q4, you were running at almost optimum utilization. I understand in Q1 there were disruption because of which volumes got impacted. So currently looking at the situation, how you look at annual volumes panning out for this year?
So for this year, you are asking. You see, we have our plans of, our AOP, annual operating plan, but then the first quarter has been washed out. I think June was, yes, we were practically not exactly back to normal, but yes, quite near to normal. July has done better. August is doing better. Again, a third wave is expected. So do you think that it will be, wisdom on my part to actually give you a numbers right now? I don't think so, actually. This will all, whatever I give you has got no base.
Right. Okay, so can you help me?
We want to do much better. That and the factory is running at full capacity at the moment. Even if we are, even if there is some gap in the manufacturing and sales, so we increase our stock or decrease our stocks accordingly. But we try to use the manufacturing capacities to maximum.
That is helpful. So in terms of realization, so whatever realization you did in this quarter, is it a sustainable number going ahead?
See, again, I think I have told that we go by, always we fix a percentage, and EBITDA we have fixed for MDF is 26 to 28%. So we will hover around that, you see. And, the prices, etc., everything will depend on the market. So we try our best to maintain between the 26 to 28%. When the new plant will come up, at that time it may go a little down also, and I'm sure it will go down actually, very frankly, which will again, over a period of a year or 6 months, when the capacity will be consumed by the market, it will again, and you have seen all that ups and downs of MDF you have seen. When our plant came up and the Green South plant came up, at that time the EBITDA really went down. We all had price decrease in the market, and then again we have been able to come up. So the cycle will keep on, repeating itself.
Right. And just lastly, sir, what was the domestic consumption of MDF in FY21?
In FY21. Very frankly, I don't have the number at the moment. It's about 1.3 million CBM, but very frankly, I'm not so sure.
Right. And the import situation?
These are all numbers which we actually do sitting on our table. Around 2,500 crore and 1.3 million CBM, but then I cannot really say that yes, this is the number.
Correct. And in terms of import, can you help us with the number, rough number if you would have? So what would be the import in FY21?
Since last 1.5 years, imports are practically negligible, and I think it could be near to. Earlier it was 250,000 cubic meters. But I don't think now it is anywhere near even few thousand CBM also.
Got it. That was helpful. Thank you and all that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Sonal Kohli from Bowhead. Please go ahead.
Thank you for this opportunity. I have three questions.
Yeah.
The first one pertains to MDF market. As you said that, we had seen a cycle when you came up with capacities, and there was a price war. Any reason for you to believe somewhere in 2024 when your plants come up, there's a structural or a fundamental difference where the intensity could be, of that range or less than that range or higher than that range, And what is the base case assumption?
Unable to hear you clearly, actually. Unable to hear clearly. Can you do something with your phone?
Is it better now?
Yeah, now it's better. Yeah.
So, sir, as you mentioned that we had a cycle when you expanded capacities and there was a price war in the industry. One of the key concerns which everyone has is that with every player, setting up capacity, now Greenply also announced, we may get back into that kind of situation. So what I wanted to ask you is that, what do you think is different this time, or do you expect the intensity to be of similar magnitude, and if different, what is the reason why you feel it will be very different? Is, the demand-supply mismatch likely to be much less, or what could be different? And since you are setting up capacity, what kind of margin assumptions would you look at in light of,
You see, how this is done is little different. Today, suppose if the total capacity consumption in India is say 1.3 million cubic meter. Say 3 years back, it might have been maybe only 0.5 million or 0.7 million. So what do we expect that yes, in say next 5 years time, this 1.3 million ton actually will become maybe 4 million ton or 5 million ton. So capacities will have to be established by different players in different zones. There will always be periods in between where there will be some excess capacity. And at that time, there will be a fight in the market and the prices will go down. And I think that happens with every industry, every time. But still the growth, like in cement, you have seen how the cement has grown from whatever to today, more than 500 million tons capacity. It has gone up 600 million ton capacity. It has reached. Similarly, I expect that this 1.3 million ton will go to 4 to 5 million ton in 4 to 5 years time. And if it is going there, we have to pass through all these stages. But those who actually fear that there will be a problem and we will not be able to sell, or the prices will go down, they will not establish the capacity. And after 5 years what happens. When consumption is 5 million ton, 5 million cubic meter, at that time still you are a very small player. But by this way of increasing and facing the cycles in the market, at that time we will be a large player.
Sir, what would be the size of the market for the normal year, like let's say 2019 was the last normal year, we had, and out of this 1.3 million is India's production or it's India's consumption including imports?
Consumption.
Out of which imports would be how large, sir?
I don't think there is much import.
But this would not be the normal consumption because your first quarter would have been a washout last year, right? For all the players.
But then actually, at that time, then later on when the COVID went away, the demand actually increased and it covered up for that gap. So we should not say, yes, it may be a little lesser than usual, but yes, it is not much of a difference of 50% or 40% or 30% like that.
And as a base case, are you expecting a 20-25% growth, or what is that you have in mind on an annualized basis for this industry?
See, next quarter I am going to present you a report where actually we will tell you about what are our plans in next 3 years' time.
So secondly, on your plywood,
we will try to include a little bit of industry scenario there also. We will try to include a little bit of industry scenario. So that may help you better. But right now, if you ask me to tell you, you see, generally, yes, we are expecting MDF to grow by 15 to 20% every year. There is no doubt about it. But then we are doing some study, and I think we will present you a better number next time.
So secondly, on your plywood business, what kind of long-term margins are you targeting now, or that also you'd like to share post Q1 only?
We will share that post Q1, but roughly it will be around in the range of 13 to 14%.
So my last question, considering when you come back to your normal, let's say no COVID wave, or if there's a wave, it's gone, we come back to a normal quarter, and there has been a lot of raw material inflation. Considering all these factors and pricing power and, one-offs in Q4, when you come back to a normal quarter, would you expect your overall EBITDA margin to be higher than what you reported in Q4 and as well as revenues, or lower than that? Because there are too many adjustments, in recent past. So as market participants, it's a bit difficult for us to analyze that data. There were employee costs which unfolded in Q4. So some
very frankly, even for us, yes, we also expect that yes, the price rise we have taken because of the costs, the prices should go down. We also expect, and our margins also should go up. But all these are too dynamic at the moment. And the logistics has created such a huge problem across the world. It is not only us, but in every area you see. So it is very, very difficult to, at the moment, to forecast. You have seen in every other discussion we ever had, we have always been able to tell you a very specific numbers. But at this juncture, to tell you, yes, we also expect that the cost should go down, the input cost should go down, the prices of chemicals and timber in the Q3, Q4 should go down, and our margins should improve. That is what we always want, isn't it? But to tell you that it will happen is a very difficult thing in this time. Yes, I am very hopeful.
Mr. Kohli, maybe I request you to please return to the queue.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We'll take a next question from the line of Achal Lohade from JM Financial. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity, sir. My question is, with respect to the distribution side, I recall that we were trying to rework or make some changes on the distribution side for the plywood. Can you help us understand where are we and what kind of benefit have we realized or expect it to come in on it, whatever 12, 18 months?
See, I think what you're talking about is that we were trying to go to 3-tier 6 towns, etc. Is that what you're talking about, or because
I think there was something go-to-market strategy as well, if I recall, with respect to distribution.
Okay, yeah. So, see, these strategies is in place, and we are working. It's there. It's happening in 1 or 2 branches, and then we will roll out to other branches. But this is something that takes time. I don't think such changes can happen overnight, or even for the matter can happen over 6 months. It's a journey of 2 to 3 years where you will see a change that will in how our industry is going to start selling. And we are hoping that we are the leaders, and because of that, we will be the one who will change this industry.
Understood. And can you help us in terms of normal, not for the quarter, but in general, what is the contribution from tier 3 towns and below, or any split if you could help us? Broad color?
No, it's very tough for me to give that number. Yeah.
Okay. My another question was, I recall last quarter we had talked about some study where we have appointed a consultant in order to look at the cost optimization. Any perspective, any color you could provide on that?
Yes, sir. We had appointed BCG towards cost optimization, and the results have been very good. It's difficult to quantify them because the first quarter in operation was a highly disturbed quarter on account of COVID. But I'm sure that long term the benefits will be very substantial.
Would you be able to give some sense in terms of what kind of benefits we could have in terms of either absolute or percentage?
We have incurred a cost of about 9 to 10 crores on the entire exercise, and I believe that we will get at least 2x in terms of annual returns going forward.
Weight savings annually. Understood. And my another question, with respect to given the cost inflation, given the supply disruption, etc., have you seen, disruption at the unorganized end? Are they coming back, or they are still pretty much severely impacted in the plywood business?
Yes, I think all across you've seen that there's tremendous pressure on the unorganized sector, and the plywood, laminates, and so on and so forth aren't very different. They are taking a lot of time to get their working capital cycle back on track. They're taking a lot of time to get production back on track. And one thing that we have done, we took a huge call to continue production during the COVID months as far as government guidelines permitted. And because of this, I think we are in one of the best positions in terms of inventory that we have been in our history. I think going forward, this is going to be an opportunity for us.
Sure. Thanks, Keshav, for that. And just a clarification, I think Sanjay ji talked about UP project. So with respect to particle board related questions, so just thought of checking, is there a possibility of UP project revival, or we have kind of finalized the south and the north expansion for the NDF?
We have never dropped the UP project. It's a question of timing. So, of course, over the course of time, you cannot do 10 expansions in one go. But UP has never been dropped. It is a very lucrative venture, and it has been postponed to maybe 2 years, 3 years later because of the licensing issues, etc., took place. So, going forward, when we do establish UP, definitely there will be a scope for particle board in UP.
Sorry, I'm just digging into that, sir. With respect to, if I recall, it was a combination of a particle board and MDF, and given we are setting up, we are adding brownfield expansion in Hoshiarpur, and a large capacity in down south. Would there be a need for a MDF in your opinion, in next 3 years' time, or can it be a standalone particle project, a particle board project as well?
So China's MDF consumption is 40 times that of India. And we start working on a project 3 years from now, it will take at least 4.5, 5 years to come to completion. So I think there is ample scope. Going forward, we will definitely chalk it out. And, as the MDF side, we will be giving you a projection for the foreseeable 2-3 years in the next quarter.
Got it. This is very helpful. Thank you so much, Keshav.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Jignesh Kamani from GMO. Please go ahead.
Hi, I'm audible?
Yeah, hi.
Hi. Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, just want to check on the MDF side. So on the plain MDF, your realization is up by around 10% quarter on quarter versus a 4 to 6% price hike. So it's safe to assume that in fourth quarter also we took a price hike and it was more back-end, and hence the 10% price hike was combination of both fourth quarter and the first quarter. That is why QOQ price hike increase, realization increased 10%.
You see, I just told that in Q1 we have taken a price rise of about 4%, and in two thicknesses we took about 15-16% price rise. So the average price increase may have been 6% or 6.5%, and maybe there is some impact of whatever price rise we took in Q4. So they were also in different stages and times. So they have been into full impact in. This I am telling is only because of my hindsight, that I do not have a calculation in front of me. We have not calculated it. But yes, these are the only regions, and some region could be the sale of a little bit of a higher, our quality product like our.
No, I was talking mainly on the plain MDF, not on the prelim.
Okay.
Where there is a 10%
No, frankly, I have not seen the data into that depth, so unable to really tell you.
Sure. Second thing, in extension of that, we reported the highest gross margin in the MDF, 43.5% versus even a 40.7% last quarter, and much higher. So this kind of gross margin is sustainable in MDF. And to extension of that, operating margin we reported around 28% despite lower, I can say this quarter. So assuming that if we run to 100% volume in normal non-COVID time, then margin can touch to 30% plus, considering we already did a 28% this quarter?
You see, what the BCG project was mostly around MDF actually. So we certainly do hope that we will get a little bit of a jump. But still, I will maintain what I said earlier, that we work around this 26 to 28% EBITDA, and we try to ensure all the machineries in the company come into full action as and when there is even if a small change is there in this. And if the BCG project is sustainable, and we are trying our best to sustain it, then yes, it should go up a little bit maybe.
Sure. So current gross margin of 43.5% is sustainable, right?
I am looking at basically this EBITDA of 26 to 28%. It may go to 29, 29.5, or maybe whatever. So yes, what you are saying is also sustainable because it is related to EBITDA.
And is there any further pressure on the input side which might force us to take a price hike, or now with our current price hike of 4 to 5% which we took in the first quarter, everything is normal now?
Presently, yes, it is normal, but as a manufacturer, we are always trying to increase the price by 1%, 2%, and the small price increases of 1%, 2% do not hurt the market. They are very easily accepted. And if these duties would have come, it would have been much easier for us to implement the price rise. And if the duties do not come, like the CVD and the anti-dumping has already been cancelled, and if the CVD does not come, then it will be difficult for us to improve our prices. But yes, we are already, my thinking is that we will be able to improve a little bit.
Thank you. Sure.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Praveen Sahai from Edelweiss Financial. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for taking my question. Sir, related to the price hike, in the plywood segment, as you had already said, that 2% around of a price hike you had taken. But the two of your smaller division, like in the plywood segment only, Decor Ply and the commercial veneer, sequential side on the bio side, the realization were down. So is there any, any different color on that?
Commercial veneer you are talking?
Yeah, commercial veneer, even the Decor Ply, the sequential realization has down. So
we'll take it up separately. So the commercial veneer, you see, at some time Century Plywood was the largest commercial veneer making company in the country. Rather, we were the first one to start in India with imported logs. But now, technically, it's an insignificant area for us. We only focus on our own raw material procurement so that we are not hurt. Our plywood manufacturing is not hurt. That's why we put up the unit in Myanmar, and that's why we have now, because Myanmar, after the problem of the coup, the supply or the running of the unit is very, very difficult. So now we are getting most of our supplies from our own unit in Gabon. So, yeah, so commercial veneer is not important to us. And the price change you see is because we have, the material coming from Myanmar was Garjan base, that is a little costlier. And the material coming from Gabon is actually Okume base, which is a little cheaper. So the per cubic meter prices will go down. But yeah, that's okay. It's not our focus at all in any way.
Okay, so the both and Decor Ply?
Decorative plywood is concerned, I will request Keshav to.
In decorative plywood, the product mix has changed. During the first quarter, lower priced products have sold more, and as such, there is a drop in realization. Going forward, I do not see this lasting, but maybe for another quarter, realizations might be a little subdued.
Okay. And
Delhi, you have done to uska koi impact diya kya?
Okay, got it. So the next question, sir, is on the MDF. As Keshav sir has also highlighted that China is a 40x of India in the the consumption side. We are very small in that. Another side, you multiple times you had said that whenever there is a new capacity come in, the prices go down. So if there is a demand in the market, and there's a huge demand in the market, then if some capacities are coming, why the prices, expected to go down, or in the past has it gone down?
You see, the demand and supply gap cannot be equal to the new plant. The new plants are of 600 to 800 cubic meter per day, and they are mostly of this capacity will be consumed in that zone. So if the plant comes in southern zone, most of the capacity is supported in southern zone actually. So the chances of prices going down when a new plant come up is very high. Yes, it may not happen. If the markets actually absorb it, yes, it may not happen. But if you ask me the probability 80% of the time the prices would go down, and 20% or 10% of the time prices may not go down.
Mm-hmm. So basically,
you see, when our Hoshiarpur plywood MDF unit came up, at that time the prices did not go down. But the moment Greens unit came up in South, at that time itself, because they stopped supplying all their North units production to South, totally they stopped. Whether they started exporting something from South zone to North zone, then the prices went down. So what you are saying is also right, because when the Century's plant came up, at that time the prices did not go down because the market immediately absorbed it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Shanti Patel from Shanti Patel Investments. Please go ahead.
Sir, my question is, what is our market share in respect of various verticals in India? And who are our main competitors? If you give 2-3 names.
No, I could not hear very clearly. Could you explain again?
What is our market share in respect of various verticals in India?
Okay. So you see, in organized market, if you are talking, as far as plywood is concerned, we have a 30% market share in organized plywood market. If you are talking overall plywood market, maybe we have about 6% market share in the country. As far as laminate is concerned, Keshav, can you?
As far as laminate is concerned, we would have close to 78% of the overall market share, and we would have 25% plus of the organized market share.
And the competition that we have is Green Ply is our only competition in terms of national player. Otherwise, there is some competition in terms of regional players, but more is in the unorganized sector, where that is why we launched the brand called Scenic in plywood, which we are trying to compete with the unorganized sector.
Sir, after GST came into picture, what is the scenario? The things are improving for organized sector, or it is as it was?
You see, after GST, we expected the change to be larger, but yes, it has not happened to the extent we expected. But you see, till now, the government has started that permit system also, road permit. But that is only applicable to very big players. As soon as that starts coming down to 50 crore or 20 crore or 10 crore annual, then it will make a bigger impact on them. Because right now, even the smaller players, even today, are able to sell it without the GST also. Because in plywood, even the final buyer is very happy buying it without the GST. When a person, when he's investing in his own house, at that time he's very happy to buy a plywood without paying a GST. So he's able to save some money. So it is actually happening from top to bottom. Only the road permit is one area which can probably do some more help to us. But in the present situation, you see, because of the logistic issues, because of our advertising, the market is changing, but it is not changing very fast. Yes, it's changing slowly towards organized player.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Karan Bhatelia from Asian Market Securities. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes. Sir, just wanted to understand what is the price difference now between the imported MDF and what we are able to sell in the domestic market. Just wanted to understand the delta now that the international prices are also firming up.
Actually, I don't have the answer. Very frankly, I do not have the right answer to tell you, because plywood is now MDF is being exported from India in a large number, and Green is exporting, and there are practically no imports. The prices of MDF is hovering around 270, 275 US dollar per cubic meter.
Right.
That is around. So, very frankly, I don't have the number at the moment. I don't want to give you a wrong.
Right. And sir, one more question. Now we're already at 40 days of the second quarter. So apart from the price hike that we've already taken, have we taken for this quarter as well, or are we planning to roll out in the near future?
We had just taken 2%, and by the time we take another price rise, and I don't think this quarter should be impacted much, even if we take it.
Right. Got it.
Because already half the quarter is over.
Correct. And so just trying to understand the July numbers. So are they better on a YOY number and as well as on the July 2019 normal month?
Nikita?
Very much. It is the recovery last year was far slower, and the recovery this year is much better. The sort of recovery we saw in September, October is what we are seeing in June and July.
Right. So are we like back to the July 19 number is what I want to understand.
Yeah. Definitely.
Okay.
Comfortably, yeah.
Thank you for the detailed explanation. That's it from mine.
Yeah.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the last question. I now hand over the floor back to the management for closing comments. Over to you, sir.
So friends, thank you so much for joining us in the call and taking out your time and listening to us. And hopefully we will see you next time for our Q2 earning call. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Ambit Capital, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.